Here we are, Pro Raw in the Raw. Now, today we have gathered here the greatest mind in business, the greatest mind in programming, and the greatest mind in rehab, all in one place. So it is here at Pro Raw today. Dr. Sebastian coming down from Sydney. Fantastic.
Great to be here, always great to be here with you guys. We just had a training session together.
Yeah.
We got to show off Andrew's pecs, we got to show off Emad's unracking ability.
The PB of Emad, I believe.
220 triple.
Oh,
A few PBs today. That was good. That was good. Thank you. I've been having a great day so far, and it's going to be a great weekend ahead.
Now, what's on for the weekend for you? What are we doing down here today?
This weekend, well, I'm here. Usually, I'll be doing seminars with you.
Yeah.
But we've a bit of a change of pace. We're doing a female seminar with Hattie Boydell. I've paired up with her, and last weekend we did one in Sydney. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, Hattie and I are going to be doing our Training the Female Athlete seminars here, where we basically teach 2 days on all things women, basically. From menstrual cycle to nutrition to fitness modeling, aesthetics, training for strength, cosmetic surgeries, a lot of the things that are out of my league to discuss, which is why I've got Hattie there to discuss that. But I like to. I'd like to, and I do train a lot of high-level female athletes, so there's my contribution to that one.
It is your contribution, because a lot of people don't realise. They see your videos of obviously you lifting and you training people, but this is really a huge facet of your business as well, female athletes. So it's great to have that you produce this seminar. It's been in Sydney and now it's in Melbourne.
Yeah, interestingly, my first athletes that I ever trained, my first high-level athletes that I ever trained were females.
Yeah.
And that came from the first powerlifter that I trained, which was a girl called Mary Mackin, and she was number 5 in Australia. I'm not sure if you've heard, it was a while ago. She was
Mary Mackin's a legend of our sport.
For those that have been following Australian powerlifting for a long time, especially the females, a lot of the early day females grew up looking up to Mary Mackin, actually. She was a 52 kilo girl, and she came to, it was actually 47, and she told me she had the Australian deadlift record at 155 kilograms, and my first thought was, yeah, what a load of baloney. And then when she came in, of course, this little girl, 47 kilograms, could lift these numbers. But yeah, so she was my first professional athlete. That would have been about 9 years ago.
Seriously?
Yeah, and this was before she was 50. She was just about to turn 50 years old, mother of 2. She was 4th in Australia. Within a year, we took her to number 1 in the world in the Masters division. She broke all sorts of Australian records and all sorts of world records.
So you got some great experience with female athletes. You got to look at Mary there, which is almost a decade down the track.
Yeah, but even just now. So Hattie's probably, 50-something kilos, is not a power lifter, and just PB'd 160 kilo deadlift. 160 kilo deadlift, and lifting heavy isn't her sport. She Correct.
just uses resistance training and strength training methods to help her in her sport, which is aesthetics.
Yep.
And that's pretty much our ethos with everything that we do. Strength for everything, really, whether you want to look good, whether you want to rehabilitate, or of course whether you want to perform.
Yeah, this has been incredible. Now you set up this real epicenter here, Dr. Emad. What was behind setting up Pro Raw?
Look, for me, I've got a lot to thank Marcus Markopoulos, who introduced me to the sport of powerlifting probably about a decade ago. And for me, over the journey, obviously Pro Raw gym is named after what I believe is the best comp in the world, Pro Raw, which will be exhibited at the Arnold's in March in a couple of weeks, where it's invitational only. We ask the best athletes from within Australia and around the world to compete. Reduced weight classes, so we have the best against. We're all about competition. So, I've got a full-time job, and for me, I've always wanted an establishment where science meets strength. And I've always wanted to, experiment in gyms, and we've set up this facility, which will be the first of many. We're about to look into moving from here in about 2 years to about something 3 times the size. I'm all about rehab, which I ask you to come and be based from here, because in my opinion, there's probably 3 authority figures in the world that I would go to when it comes to rehab. Mackenzie's one, you're another, and when you met me 7-8 years ago, you saved me from having back surgery, and I went to 3 surgeons, and from then we've become really close. But I like the way that you think outside the box. You keep things very simple. So for me, I also wanted a facility where it was not overwhelming, where you would have the best equipment, but still be pretty. And it didn't need to be harsh and old school, but still have the best equipment. And my mum trained here earlier today.
Yeah.
You've seen her, you've helped her with the rehab, and I'm proud of her as much as I'm proud of him, benching 220 by 3 for a few sets today. I'm proud of my mum. After, with your guidance, she's lost 24 kilos, 25 kilos, and this is the latest in her 70s. So for me, I love the fact that we've got school kids, we've got little Reese, we've got Hattie, we've got people from all walks of life able to train at a place where they become better versions of themselves. And that's all it is.
There is a very strong team or community feel that's here too.
Yeah.
And that I think really works well.
Because for us, it's about, people talk about culture. For me, culture is based around one word: discipline. What you expect from yourself and how you treat others. And for me, it's simple: be a better version of yourself. And if that incorporates rehabbing, so you can be stronger or better or faster or fitter, then so be it. But you've got to have discipline. And so for us, we make people accountable. And in the same way that you look after yourself, you've got to look after the equipment and so forth. And there's a real team, because powerlifting, strength sport, I come from team sports. And for me, I'm trying to get this community around here. I met Bass, in fact, the greatest powerlifter of all time, and a close friend of mine, Ed Cohen, introduced me to Bass by saying to me, this was 2014 GPA, and I sort of heard about 3 or 4 or 5 people from New South Wales that were fairly strong, but he said to me, hey, that's Australian strength coach. I said, which one? And he goes, that guy. And I said, how do you know him? He goes, because he's got one of the best military presses. And I think back then he was pressing 140.
Right, yeah.
And I said to Ed, introduce me to him. I asked Ed to introduce me to him.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know Ed Cohen, he is the Michael Jordan of our sport. He, in today's era, would be totaling 1,100 at 110 kilos. He is a freak. And he'll be here at the Arnold's in about 8 weeks with his beautiful partner. So I met Bass, and I've been following what he does. Apart from being an outstanding strength coach, again, keeps it simple, doesn't burn his athletes, they rarely get injured. He gets really strong people and makes them stronger, which is sometimes a bit hard to do, because certain people are stuck in their ways, and he's able to change their mindset. But we become brothers, and there's not many people that I ask for advice in this sport when it comes to actual technique. He's one. Max Markopoulos is another, and Thomas Lilly. So but he's taken his brand global, and I love the way he also thinks about things from a business point of view.
Yeah, I'd say from a scientist point of view, I'm sitting at the table with 2 of the people I think see technique better than anybody else.
It's attention to detail. So I grew up in a retail world. Retail is detail. And even just now, I noticed he was here in August last year.
Yep.
He's modified the way he's gripped his bench. And just little things like that, for him to be able to press without giving his secrets, for those that are watching, he's just tweaked. And I said to him, have you changed something? Slight tweaks. Yeah. It's extraordinary to be able to press 220, and he could have done it for an extra rep at his body weight. And again, I like the way that he teaches things.
I've seen a huge change in
But I also love his business mind and his fashion style.
We both,
he loves what I do. He loves watches, and he loves runners, but he loves also
Dunlop volleys, isn't it?
But that's my favourite. Yeah, top of the list.
I love how he can monetize things without putting money on. So what Bass and you do is you treat people really well, and you genuinely care about helping people, and the flow-on effect is you make money. And he cares about his people, and in my industry, I'm surrounded by beautiful women and strong women and powerful women, and he has that same philosophy where,
I'm not allowed to say women. I've got a wife that gets upset, so I can just say one woman, one woman. But that's exactly right.
His daughters is everything, and I've seen how they are, and that's why what happened with Kobe broke his heart. But he loves making women more powerful by being stronger, by being better versions. There's plenty of coaches for men, You know, and so even at my work, if my whole executive team is females, I guess it comes from, you know, being and having strong relationships with our mums.
Well, this is a lot about what we look at. It's family.
100%.
When you come to Pro Raw, it feels like family. When you
Yeah.
look at Sebastian's community online, it's family.
Yeah.
And family means commitment to each other.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the culture I see developing, which hasn't always been in a lot of sports, especially powerlifting. It's coming together. That leadership such as you're both
But
providing.
this is why we see things different. A lot of people coming into the sport now mimic Sebastian, and I see it from the way they talk, the way they do Q&As, the way they, you know, try to be a niche coach in this sport. Which other industry allows you to do a 6-week certificate and and call yourself coach? It's comical. But not only was he was one of the first to market, but he's actually very good, and he continues to evolve. I'm not here to change anything. I'm just here to try to improve the way that our sport was done. And because of our business acumen and because of our strong integrity and business ethics, we've been, you know, successful. But there are people, you know, around the world that are also very successful in our industry, and you align yourself with good people.
You're right, though, because when I look at what you're producing there, I would say about Sebastian as well, when you're talking about those people who are looking at him, often imitated but never duplicated. You can't.
It's what you guys are talking about with the family and the relationship. Like, look at what we all have here. You guys treat me like a family. You guys have keys to my premises whenever you come to Sydney. You treat it like it's your own home. And it's the same with how you're talking about coaching athletes at the highest level and getting them better. There's a lot of scientists out there, and there's a lot of technicians, people with degrees and all of the academia in the world, but they don't have the relationship with the coaches to have the respect from their athletes to listen to them to get better. So I think a lot of it isn't just about how good you are at teaching someone how to move a barbell a certain way. It's relationship building, like you're talking about with the gym that you're doing here. You're creating community. You know, with everything that you guys believe in, it goes so much. You know, we talk about science, and yeah, although I love the science that you guys bring, and that's why I love to align with you. It's not just that. It's how you deliver it, and it's like you get results. And it's about the relationships that you're able to form with people to develop trust so that they do listen to you, so that they can achieve the results that you prescribe.
Now, what makes you essentially authentic as well is you're still driving on for personal goals. You're not just out there coaching, you're coaching yourself number one.
And not just personal goals, like, you know, am I allowed to share what your goal is for Warriors?
Oh, absolutely.
So Bass wants to be one of maybe the lightest person in Australia to total 1,000 kilos at Warriors. Warriors is a new event that we've aligned to Big Dogs.
Yeah.
Again, another amazing idea.
October
31, one of Marcus's brilliant brain child ideas. And so, so, you know, when I say we, but Bass will get close hopefully in March. And the thing is, if he was a full-time athlete,
yes,
and all he did was dedicate time and energy, he would have hit that 1,000. But he's a father, he's a business person, he's flying all around the world doing seminars. This is the first time he's actually done a prep. So this time last year, his prep was, he had 3-4 weeks off when you went to visit Santa Claus. True? In
Rovaniemi, yeah. So we came back, and I essentially started my prep at a skinny weight. I think it was about 103 kilograms so straight after Christmas, which was still a great prep, and I performed my best performance ever, which was a 940 kilogram total, and I'm absolutely stoked with my performance. But yeah, definitely this year I wanted to beat last year, and that's what I did. I didn't go overseas on a family trip like that, which is a little bit selfish sometimes, and I see it because I do work with some high-level athletes. Unfortunately, to achieve the greatest heights, you have to be a little bit selfish. You know, and what I mean by selfish is last year we went on a family holiday to Rovaniemi, where I was able to take my daughter to Santa Claus's hometown. This year, the only holiday that we went to, we did go to Miami, where there was a gym very similar to what we have here, and that was the rules that I had with the holiday that I went on. I wasn't able to interfere with my training, and I went over there and my training schedule stuck. And I came back in January, the same time as last year, at the body weight that I need to be for this competition.
Which is the first time, you know, and regardless of what the end result is this comp, because you don't know what happens on the day, or there's still time. But his goal to actually be 110 kilos and say I want to total 1,000, where there's not many people in heavier weight classes that have totaled 1,000, is phenomenal. But then that adds credentials to when he tells Thor or others, I can help you bench 230, 240. Well, he's done it. And so you sort of need to have the proof in the pudding. You are capable.
It's definitely been a very great tool of mine when I coach so many athletes that are actually stronger than me. I think it's a really big skill in itself to be like I've got I think 6 or 7. I've got 6 athletes that have totaled over 1,000 kilograms. So I've not done that. So how can someone like me, to employ a coach, you need to look up to them in some way. And if they're not looking up to me as someone that's stronger than them, they need to be able to respect me in some way. So that's why I'm pushing myself to these heights as well, is to be respected by these guys.
You've also got to be bullish. So for example, Graham Hick, strongman, elite athlete, to be able to do what you did with him, and he's not far of having an all-time
he's someone that absolutely has what it takes to achieve the all-time world record. He just needs to put the time in and do a proper prep. But yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing. What did I do with Graham? I formed a really great relationship with him.
Correct.
He came to Sydney. We hung out when we were at World's Strongest Man. I met him through Hathor, and we hung out at World's Strongest Man. We hung out again. He came to Iceland. Then we met again in UK, and then he came to Sydney and stayed with us for 3 weeks. And my wife is looking after his child. His wife and my wife are hanging out, and my daughter's hanging out with his daughter. And then he goes so well in his competition and improves so much. It's the relationship that we've formed. We've got science, great. Okay, now how do you get someone that big to listen to a little scientist with a clipboard in front of them? It doesn't work that way. No. So that's, again, it's testament to the only way you're going to get people to respect and listen to what you do is
by doing it, because not
exactly.
only you can also avoid a lot of issues with someone like him, because although he's incredibly strong, powerlifting is different. So when you write his program, knowing that he can squat, but then if he squats low bar, he's going to experience elbow pain, which you call penis elbow. So then you can sort of help him mitigate all these issues because you can squat big numbers, you can bench big. And so for him, he has the confidence in someone like you because you're strong at a much lighter body weight, but also come game day, again, your attention to detail, the way that you pump your athletes, the choice of the numbers and the selection is incredible. Like I said, probably top 2, him and Max.
To be honest with you, again, it's relationships we form, and that's how I met Andrew, is his attention to detail with the techniques.
Yes.
Bit of a sidetrack here, but a funny story. When I met Andrew, he came to my gym and he reached out and he said he's got a whole bunch of clients that need treating in Sydney. Do you mind if I use your facility? So I said, no problem. I'd heard of him before, but we'd never met. And I thought, great, come to our gym. I want to meet this guy, Andrew. He's the legend in rehab. Here's my gym and here's the rehab room. And he said, great, I won't be using that room. It had the massage bed set up. I won't be using that room. And he was next to me doing deadlifts with his clients and teaching them how to lift. And he was actually lifting weights with his injury rehab clients. And the feedback that we got, we do the Instagram game, and people are posting photographs at the end of the session, and they're writing things like, I had a bad back for however many months, haven't been able to lift, came and saw Andrew with one treatment, I'm lifting deadlifts again free from pain. And this is what I'm after. This is the results industry. You've got all the academia in the world, but not many people are actually doing it properly and achieving results.
It's function, isn't it?
It is function.
What we are teaching people is how to move effectively and efficiently and safely. It's what you do, and you make them do it with the biggest weights, and I'm just getting people to get back their lives, no matter what their level is. And you're providing the facility for us to do it in.
It's results.
Like what you said, this is just, instead of having a massage bed and a treatment room, this is one big clinic for you.
This is the best clinic. Yes. This is where science really happens, the science of life. We're all here.
What's next for you?
Online, for a new website that I'll be doing online rehab for the world. So I often basically treat people from around the world anyway.
Yep.
And this is always being exclusive for VIP people. Now as it can go worldwide, I can actually fit more people in who are having problems worldwide.
I don't think that's been done before.
No,
I think there's a
not at
big
all.
need for that, and there's a big need for Andrew Locke's name to get out there in the world.
And a lot of mentoring for professionals, so I'll make sure that it's going to have a lot of education for professionals, because we want to get them away from, well, the people with the degrees that should be teaching movement science. It's time to make them realise they can teach movement science. That what you do, what we do here, this is the science which we should have been decades ahead of where we're at as far as health professions go. We shouldn't have people going to surgery unnecessarily. People should be moving well without pain, and it's about time that we spread that word. And that's what we're going to do.
And where can people find you?
Well, they can only ever find me at Pro Raw, can't they?
And,
on Instagram, of course, yeah.
What's your page?
Andrew_Lock_strength. That's for those of you, obviously, who are living under rocks and probably haven't used the internet. Everyone else knows that's where I am. But, yep, and of course, at Pro Raw Gym, I'll do my Ask Andrew every week. You'll find me here to answer your questions about
I've noticed
love
a
life.
different look to 2020 Andrew.
There's a very different look.
Randy Savage.
I'm liking this
Yeah,
look.
it's a different look.
And don't forget, every Sunday, my Sunday sermon is available. The Reverend Andrew Locke will be available every Sunday. So hook in and get that. Well, Dr. Sebastian, it's great to have you down, man. You're going to need to go eat some serious meat right now, because
We are going to
you've
load
got a
up on
big
some food
weekend
tonight.
teaching.
Yeah, so I do kind of make the commitment that I like right now, nutrition counts.
Yeah.
But yeah, while I'm doing the seminars, it kind of falls behind a little bit. And this is the last ones that I'm going to be doing up until competition. So I will be having a big feed tonight, lots of dessert. But the nutrition does fail, unfortunately, over a weekend like this, but straight back on the horse on Monday.
Sounds great. And Dr. Emad, fantastic, of course. Thank you for providing the centre for which is
My pleasure.
leading the world for us. And we're looking forward to the development the next couple of years of Pro Raw as a name.
Thank you.
Great, Dr. E.
Thank you.
Dr. Sebastian.
Great working with you all. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked what you saw, you can subscribe right here. Oh yeah.